then we've talked about how to create your book and then how to print it. Now we'll talk about how to sell it and get those books out of your garage into the. That's actually what my impetus was. I started my career in publishing when I was laid off my job in November 9th, 1990 at 10:37 a.m. But I'll get over it. And I was thinking, I didn't want to go back into the corporate world. I had experience as a VP of marketing, and I wanted to try something different. So I thought I would, how hard could it be to write a book? I found that's the easy part.
Yeah.
It's difficult, but that's and then you have to sell it. But I had before POD, I had the 5,000 books printed, so I get a lower unit cost on it. And I had the 5,000 books in the garage. I would sell 100 and get 20 back, and sell 100 and get 20 back. And I realized there's got to be a better way to market books and sell books. So I got the impetus to do that. My wife had the 5,000 books in and out of the garage, and so my wife said, "Brian, I want to make one thing perfectly clear." And I said, "What's that?" And she said, "The garage." So I had to find a new way of selling these books that wasn't returnable, and that's what got me going. But I ended up making a career out of that by printing a lot more, publishing a lot more books on book marketing and book selling. But I learned how to do it by doing it on my own books. Now, that was the important thing. I'll bring some of that experience into you. This is a very brief marketplace or description about the marketplace. The children's book publishing industry in last year was $3.5 billion. And this is through bookstores. Looking at it, a growth into for this year about 2.5%. And it's the marketplace. Looking at the 3 to 5 year old is particularly noteworthy, and it seems like a nice size marketplace in which to participate. But I'll show you how to double your opportunity, how to make this up to a $7 billion or more, because the non-bookstore marketplace is actually larger than the bookstore marketplace. So the traditional ways of selling books are about 40%. And the non-traditional ways are about 60%. So we can more than double your opportunity for selling books. How do you do that? Well, dual distribution. That you have your inventory or your books, and you can sell to retail and non-retail. Retail, including bookstores. I'm not saying don't sell through bookstores or Amazon. That's fine, do that. But don't rely on that as your only source of information or sales. And there are other opportunities for retail sales too. But then there's the non-retail side. And that is I'll describe the two differences of these, but I just want to make the point of you can double your opportunity and hopefully your sales by looking in just in different places, different ways. And that's where the imagination comes in for that. Here's the typical type of distribution or sales avenues that people take. The bookstores, certainly a big area, the chains, the independents, the internet, Amazon, certainly. E-commerce through your website, doing a lot of marketing through your podcasting and blogging. Direct selling books through email. My first book was about how to get a job. And I was trying to sell it to college students, and the college students didn't want to pay $14.95 for a book. So I found a list of the parents of graduating college seniors. And this is not a children's book, but it's an example of how to use direct mail. I got the list of the parents of graduating college seniors, did a direct mail program to them, and sold 10,000 books within about 2 months, and just kept expanding on that because they had the need to get the student a job and out of the house, and they had the money to pay for it. So using those criteria and defining my target market, I was able to come up with a new opportunity. Certainly selling the rights to your book, the international rights. I had Job Search 101 translated into Spanish. There was no book for the Hispanic marketplace. I had that translated into Spanish. It was Job Search 101, and it came back as El Trabajo 101. And I didn't speak Spanish, so it sounded good to me. I showed it to somebody who did speak Spanish, and they laughed. the 101's a basic course in the US, but outside the US, it means nothing. So I had the whole thing retranslated. I didn't speak Spanish, but I learned a definition of one word in Spanish of mañana. When will my book translation be done? Mañana. I learned mañana doesn't mean tomorrow. It means not today. And there's a big difference. But this is the marketplace of the 3.5 billion that we're looking at now for the opportunity for children's books. But that's half the marketplace. Some things we'll talk about are non-retail, how to sell your books, large quantities, non-returnable, to corporations, associations, libraries, schools, military. Big opportunities for children's books. Through book clubs, home shopping networks, catalogs, places that a lot of people don't think about and don't look at. And then the retailers, other than bookstores, you have these gift shops and discount stores, airport stores, supermarkets, specialty stores, all great places to sell children's books as well as others. So this is, just want to give a little background on the other 50%, which we'll be talking about from now for the next hour or so, about how to address that marketplace and how to sell your books there. Tammy talked about this, and I talk about this all the time. Of who's your target reader? I had most of my clients, let's say, who's your target reader? Everybody who could use my this information. And that's how are you going to reach everybody? Well, years ago, I'll get on Oprah and sell 2 million books. I used to call that the phantom of the Oprah. That people, they don't have the target market solidified. They're trying to market everybody, but think about the 5 W's. Start up. Who is your target buyer? And take a little bit of time on this because it's critical. Everything else we'll be talking about for the next hour really is based upon this discussion here. So who is your target buyer? And think about the age group for the parents of these kids. It may be 20 to 40 or in that area. But and you can reach them through TikTok and Instagram. But what about the grandparents? It's a different segment for you, but it could be reach them through perhaps Facebook. And think about, are they homeschooling their kids? That's something that opens up another marketplace for you. And think about the decision influencers, the kids. Yeah, the kids themselves. They may say, Mom, Dad, I saw this great book in preschool today. Can we get it? So if you can, again, just think about that, who that person is. They have a higher income? Well, maybe they're traveling and you have your books in airport stores or museums or gift shops in the science museum or the aquariums or parks. So then if it's a lower income demographic, or maybe have parents have your books in supermarkets and discount stores. So again, that if you know who your buyers are, it dictates in many cases where you have your books for sale. When will they sell it? Well, they certainly have the Christmas, the holiday periods, but you have Mother's Day, Father's Day makes a great gift for it. But there's a website called holidayinsights.com. And they have lists of the different days and months. For example, May is Family Support Month or American Bike Month. So if your book is talks about bicycling, you get on the air at that time talking about how to sell your books during that. It's National Senior Travel Month. So the grandparents that are traveling along, taking their kids on the cruise ships with them or flights to somewhere, then you can have your books for sale to them. June, you have the Mother's Day, Father's Day, Adopt a Cat Month if your book is about cats. So go to that Holiday Insights and find out what the appropriate holidays are for your content. Where are you going to sell it? We talked about airport stores, supermarkets, and preschools, pet stores, parks, museums. And then what are you selling? This is something that Tammy and Lori both talked about, that you're solving the problems with people. That think about Arm & Hammer baking soda. How is that used? Deodorizer, toothpaste, in recipes, but the product hasn't changed. It's the same product. The same with your book. The book is fixed. You have that, but how do you promote it? How do you present that to different target markets? The retailers, they don't want to sell your book. They want profit per square foot. They want inventory turns. They want store traffic. So you tell them how you'll do that. The librarians want to help their patrons. The media wants a good show for their guests. So if you're selling, stop selling your books and you'll sell more of those, thinking about who your buyers are and why they buy and when and how they buy. So spend a little time on that, but it's critical for the remainder of my discussion. So then you organize these prospects into manageable groups that buy for different reasons. You have children's hospitals or children's libraries that buy for different reasons than moms groups or for homeschooling. The daycare centers, these are all different opportunities. So the more that you can decide or define who your target buyer is, and then put them in these different groups, then they buy from some you sell directly to them, some you have to go through a distributor. So you sell to them in the way they want to be, or they're used to being sold to. But this is a critical part of the opportunity, because now you have a lot more opportunities than just selling through bookstores. But I'm not saying don't sell through bookstores. That's a good place to start. These you start off, you get the publisher, you go through a distributor, your wholesaler, the retailer, and consumer. But these arrows go both ways. They're both they get books returned. So that's why I talk about not focusing just on bookstores. If you want to sell 10,000 books, you have to get 10,000 people to each buy one. And the marketing is done through people of which you have no control. But it's still good to sell through bookstores. You go through the majors. All the URLs I'll be showing you start off with this https bit.ly/. Just write that down. And then in the future, you just write down these numbers and letters. But make the note of bookstores and then click on that. And you click on children's books. And that lists of all bookstores that specialize in selling children's books. So, or children's picture books. These bookstores that specialize in that, or even Christian children's books. So you can have it's a good opportunity for bookstores. Now look at non-bookstore retailers. Do it the same way. You're selling the same way. So you already know how to do it. You may have a distributor if you're going through Ingram. Then they can get you to these other non-bookstore retailers too. So think about the procedures you have in place now and how you can reach the same or different segments using the same distributors that you're using now. Well, I'll show you some different distributors who do focus on these non-retail buyers, non-bookstore retailers also. So now you have the traveling people or the grandparents that are doing a lot of selling. In retail, you think about who's the customer of your customer. In airport stores, it could be the families that are traveling. So you have your books in those areas. You can go to the majors, the Hudsons and Parodies. I don't recommend you doing that because they will charge you $2,500 a month to have your books on their shelf. It's a tough way to make money, I should say. So go to some of the locals. These author in Hartford Airport, they have the Cover to Cover bookstore. In Minneapolis, the Author Bookstore. You go to the airport website, and it lists all these non-major type of bookstores. But also go to non-bookstore stores, like the Flybabies. You go to them, you can have your book sold there. Or a different way of having it sold is selling it non-returnable. Have them buy 1,000 books. And when people go there with their kids and they spend $100 on clothes or on whatever, they get a free copy of your book as a thank you. So you just get that. You have the products that you bought there, then you get the free book to read to the kids on the plane too. So that's a way of working through a retailer without having the books returnable. And think about in retail, it's typically returnable. Non-retail, typically non-returnable. So just keep that in mind. So I like selling even to retailers on a non-returnable basis. Looking at discount stores and warehouse clubs, you have your books in Walmart and Target. Costco recently just stopped selling books. They found it was too time-consuming and expensive to manage all the returns. Every Tuesday, they would get new books in. They'd have somebody that would package up all the unsold books and ship those out. So they decided to just not do it. But go to this readerlink.com. They're the largest full service distributor of paper, hardcover trade paperback books in North America. Non-retail, non-trade. So you can have Ingram doing your trade books and you have Reader Link doing your non-trade books. You go to their website. Some of these I thought some of these URLs are easier to write down than doing the bit.ly one, but readerlink.com, and then it gives you their instructions for submitting your book to them for approval. Specialty stores. These could be like pharmacies. You have CVS pharmacy. You have not just books about health. They have kids' books there. And go to choicebooks.org and you get your books in supermarkets and pharmacies. Is your book about pets? Well, go to the PIDA, the Pet Industry Distributors Association.org. This lists all the distributors that will contact the mom and pop pet stores, the Costco, Petco's, PetSmarts. So these are great places. Get them against selling your book for you, so you don't have to take the time to do it. Go to different Fisher Price toy stores. It could be go to Fisher Price. I'll show you later how to do that, but you can go to Fisher Price directly and have them use your book as a premium, where people buy a large set of their products and they get a free book with it. You may think about, why do I have funeral homes here? Well, if you go to your state funeral home directory or association, funeral homes have special rooms for kids. When the adults are in the going to the wake, the kids go in the other room, so they're not making a noise and running around, but they go to a separate room, and they have toys, they have books in there for the kids. So it's a great opportunity for you. Retirement homes may sound odd, but they have the kids visiting the people in the retirement homes. So they have the books, a bookshelf in there for the kids to play around with. Banks, we had set up some coloring books, and Lori was talking about printing coloring books there. We did that for banks. They have children's books, and we created the coloring books for the kids, obviously, to keep them busy while the parents are talking about their home loan or their mortgage or their boat loan or their business loan or whatever. So this opportunity came about where the banks wanted this bookshelf, which we set up for them. So that's kind of somewhat of a specialty store, but they go to different types of toy stores, go to maternity shops where you buy X amount of a product and you get a free book along with it. Certainly some craft stores, go to Michael's if your book is about that. Department stores could be Macy's or Nordstrom's, or it could be a lower income type of a department store. But the idea is that you're looking at these other opportunities in which to get your books. And these are more of some of those circles that were looked at there of the niche markets for it. Supermarkets. This is a great opportunity for reaching kids, but they discount a lot of the books for all genre, not just children's books, but children's books and regional titles do well. That you have, if you have a children's book about some historic event in a particular town, well, go to that, get in the supermarkets and get them to have it in the stores. But they like having the author there, but not to do a book signing. That they want to do a bookstore event. We had one client that had books about children's books about the character was a banana, and the other character was an ant, A-N-T, and he had costumes up as a banana and as an ant, and he did these bookstore events in the supermarkets, and the kids loved it because they got the parents in there who were, well, I'm here, I might as well buy my food here while I'm here. So it's the McDonald's theory about getting the kids to bring their parents there. But again, the supermarkets, Reader Link is a good opportunity for that. Museums, zoos, parks, great opportunities. If you're going there, they all have gift stores. They want to extend the experience of their guest. If you have books on dinosaurs, go to the museum. They're not looking for cheap books either. They're looking for hardcover books that are durable the people are more willing to spend a little bit more money there because they're bringing the museum back home with them. And it's a good opportunity for Tammy talked about something too, about the competition in which you're looking for or experience, and you have to create a product that is better than the competition. This is a way to break away from competition, because a lot of your competitors are not selling their books in these places. So you go to the museum store through Event Network. They sell to again, you just need to write down these. So just write the word zoo and then put these numbers and letters there. So a reminder of what that link is for. For the national parks, Eastern Parks, Western National Parks Association, that you go to these places, and these act as wholesalers, taking your products, your books, to these parks. So people they arrive with their family in their RV, they get everything all set up, or in their tents, and they get everything all set up, and then they go to the gift store that's on site, and they have adult books, obviously, for the adults, but the kids' books but these are great ways, particularly if your book is about travel, or about parks, or about mountain climbing, or about something that would be associated with the parks, or with the zoos, or with the museums. The U.S. government bookstore. So this goes to the non-military federal employees, and there are 2 million of those people. So it's a great. They sell children's books there. They're not. They have obviously a lot of other types of books, but they have a lot of children's books. So have your book there. It's a great opportunity. The military exchanges. Let's talk about this during one of the breaks with Amanda. She has the book about the military, about selling to kids, selling through exchanges to kids. And I found this to be a great opportunity for job search books, because the parents are changing jobs every couple of years, or the spouse of the service person is changing jobs every couple of years. But so are the kids. I think Amanda mentioned this, that the kids are changing schools every couple of years. The books on bullying is a big topic through the exchanges. How to deal with the death of a spouse, or death of a parent, is unfortunately is books that sell well through the exchanges. Each of the branches, the military branches, has their own exchange. The Army Air Force is the largest, but each of the branches has their own, the Coast Guard, the Navy, and so forth. But don't just think of military books. They have the books just for kids. So they have fiction, they have nonfiction, they have for all age groups, YA and younger. So other non-bookstore retailers online, the Learning Express, more for educational type books. The Fat Brain Toys, look at this online as a catalog. So a way to get your books in a catalog. They do the printing, they send the catalog out, and it includes your books in it. So the opportunities, the catalogs can be a good source of sales for you. There's another catalog that for more educational products, but discoverytoys.net is the more the educational type, the more so if you have the books that are educationally bent versus entertaining, they're more likely to take your book on there. But again, they do the printing of it, they do the distribution of it. They typically will buy from you in larger quantities. They'll typically non-returnable. They pay the shipping, which is odd in most retailers retailing, that you pay the shipping. And that's something Lori talked about the importance of making sure that your contract, when you're working for your printer, with your printer, you understand that concept. But there's just another opportunity for books for kids. So for selling the books online can be a good opportunity for you. And these places, the catalog particularly, will buy books in advance and for inventory. So they'll do the shipping for you. People order the books because they may order multiple items from the same catalog. So they want to have them all on hand, and they ship them all at one time. and some additional opportunities. This American Reading Company, they do the distribution, but they have books in Spanish and in English, and they do a lot of working with the authors, with the publishers. So if you're not sure about the how to do it, contact the American Reading Company, and they have the leveling program that they can tell you what age group that your content is appropriate for also. So American Reading Company can be a good opportunity for you. Here's a list of print book distributors at this URL here, that you go there and just find the one that's near you. Contact several of those, like Lori mentioned that too, that you want to have some competitive quotes for the printing. Same thing with your distributor. Don't just go to one and whether it's Ingram, Choice Books, Reader Link. Find out about their conditions, their policies, their terms. So it's really important to do this. When I mentioned before about the why people buy and why retailers buy for the store traffic and profit per square foot. If your book doesn't sell, they take it off and put another book on there. They return it in 60 to 90 days. So you have to demonstrate to them why your book will sell other than others that they have on their shelf. When you submit your book or your proposal to a distributor, most of your proposal should be about your promotion. What are you going to do to drive traffic to these stores? That makes the distributor's job easier. So if they want to get your book into Barnes & Noble or into a discount store or into an airport store, that if you're doing the promotion, getting people aware of your book. So when they show up, they go to Flybabies and they get, oh yeah, I saw this book. I heard about this book. So you have to have consistent, persistent promotion, but make sure that in your proposal to your distributor, that's one thing you really need to demonstrate is what you will do to drive traffic to the stores. The retailers don't want to see your book on the shelf. They want to see it at their cash register. And so the more that you can convince them that your promotion will do that. And the events, you can do this, the banana, get your aunt costume in these different stores. Tell the distributors you're willing to do that. So it makes them more likely to choose you over some other book. And so obviously they want to see the book, they want to see the quality of it. And Tammy's timeline talked about getting your a saleable, at least a presentable book before it's actually finished. So you can send that to distributors. They don't need to see a finished book. They want to see the quality of it. They also want to see that you're working with a distributor, with a designer, that you're not designing this yourself. I see regularly, I'm sure Tammy and Lori see this too, that people say, well, I was or my daughter or son is a designer, or I was a designer in college. But being a designer is not being a book designer, and as Tammy talked about. So, but these are the things that if you can let the distributors know that you're working with professionals, and then you're much more likely to get your product in there. And do a little research on your target market. They want to know, give them your elevator pitch, give them a description of your target market. And I can't guarantee this, but I can promise that your opportunity to getting into that distributor will be much greater if you take the time to do all these things. Home shopping networks. That is, you may say, what do you mean selling children's books? They don't want to sell books through HSN or QVC, because people will find out about the books and they'll go to Amazon and buy it. So what I suggest, we had a person had a book for kids about saving money. So we set up a piggy bank, which had different categories in it, different compartments in it for coins and bills. But the idea is that if you can come up with this package, that you have your book plus something else which adds value to it, but also adds price to it, and something they can't buy at Amazon. We had a book of flying with kids. The book was about how to have an enjoyable flight for everybody on the plane, when you have kids on board. But it talked about the clothes, non-flammable clothes, car seats, that. So we went on the QVC with talking about the book, but we had the manufacturer of this non-flammable clothes donate some clothes and talk about that, and car seats, a manufacturer of car seats. We put a package together. So you have this book, you have the non-flammable clothes, you have the car seat, all as a package that they can buy on QVC or HSN. So again, you don't go there just to sell your book. They're not going to take it. Go there with a package, high value, high dollar amount package. Book clubs, some things that these add credibility to it. You can tell the bookstores that you are in book clubs. That enhances the sales. I worked with Marcella Smith, the buyer at Barnes and Noble years ago, and she told me that surprised me, that they like to see the fact that it's in book clubs, because it gives you more credibility for them. So the advertising, it's also free, not free advertising, but it is advertising. It's more people to talk about it. But there are book clubs for children. Here's a list of book clubs just for kids. So contact them, and you find they take a fairly substantial amount of your off your list price. So think back about that one slide that Lori showed about the difference of POD and offset, how the pricing difference drops significantly from like 300 to 500 to 1,000. So if you can get an order for you want to print in higher quantities, because that gets your unit cost down. You can handle a larger discount off your list price for these book clubs, and catalogs will want some significant discount too. So if your book's about pets, you can go to that Pet Industry Distributors Association, or go to these book clubs for pets. You can do all these. These are not mutually exclusive. You can get into the book clubs. You do catalogs. You can get into the corporations, associations, and into other retailers. The more your book is out there, people need to see your book 7 to 10 times before they actually make the purchase. So if they see it in a catalog, in a book club, on an airport store, in a direct mail piece, then all of a sudden, next time they see it, they buy it. So these people understand the concept of not being mutually exclusive, or the promotion is not that. It does blend over into other areas to give you greater marketability. Catalogs or something that these are a lot of different catalogs, but variety of different catalogs for kids' books. Could be for Christian kids' books, for historical kids' books, for educational books. But these catalogs they purchase books for inventory, because they want to be able to ship out as soon as the order is placed. So they're not looking for just shipping out or for buying from you for orders. They'll buy in larger quantities. This is what we're aiming for here, is these larger quantities. They usually pay in 30 days. Retailers will pay in 90 to 120 days. Your distributor will typically hold back a portion of money owed to you just for potential returns. So you don't get the full amount in 90 to 120 days. But here, these books are sold for inventory, for non-returnable. So you get paid in 30 days, and if they pay the shipping, that adds a lot to your bottom line, because you're not paying that. What I did one time is, there was off the topic of it, children's books, but there was a Restoration Hardware. They had on brick and mortar stores, and they also had a catalog. So what I did, went in one of their stores with the manager's permission, I put some books up in a setting which they would look good in a catalog. I took pictures of it, and then got a Restoration Hardware catalog and pasted this picture in the section which I thought it would sell best, and sent this to the catalog decision maker. And that they bought it because I took the little time effort to show them how it would look in the store, but also in the catalog. And the section should be in here are the target readers, here are the target buyers for it. So we can make their job easier. They're much more likely to try it and to give it a shot. There's a catalog for homeschooling products. I'll talk about homeschooling momentarily. But if you're looking for a catalog just that goes to people who have homeschooling, there are homeschooling national organizations, state organizations, county organizations, towns. You don't want to go to the lowest level. You want to go to the highest level. And I'll mention that momentarily, talking about these associations. But catalogs give you a good way to do that, to reaching your segments. They're reaching the family in Madison, Wisconsin, or Cincinnati, Ohio, that is homeschooling, and they market it to them with their catalog, and then your book gets the sale. But that's a good this catalog is good for getting if you have a product that could be for homeschooling. Getting into gift stores, hospital gift stores, Lori's Gifts is a good place for distribution, for wholesaler. There's a difference between wholesaler and distributor. So Lori's is a wholesaler. But if getting into hospital gift shop, which can be a great opportunity, particularly for kids' books, or for the adult hospitals do that. They'll have the children's books in there too, because if the parents are in the hospital, they'll bring the kids go up there with the children's books. We set up a program in children's hospitals. We set up a library where they have all these kids' books, and the parents and the nurses will take a book out of this library. The kid will pick out the book, and they read it to the child. And when the child leaves, they take it home with them. They add it to their bill. So you can set up a program like that. We can do that for you, and I'll explain that later, but we can do something like that for you and all these things. But you can set up that, you go to the State Hospital Association. So you're not going to each individual, or with the National Hospital Association, and have them give them a percentage of your sale. But when you go into gift shops, here they go to rephunter.com or this other bit.ly URL for two different opportunities for gift shops. If you're reaching the grandparents for buying the books for the kids, well, you probably want to be in Hallmark. There are a wide variety of gift stores, and again, you're thinking, who's the customer of my customer? And that is the opportunity that you'll have in I don't know if it's Spencer's Gifts versus Hallmark, a big difference in their customer base. But these rep hunters can get you into the parks and the zoos and the museums also. If you can't get into Event Network, this is another way of getting around it. So that's basically the retail section, non-bookstore retail section. I'll get into non-retail now, but just recap this: that the books are returnable. Paid 90, 120 days. You have to work through a distributor or a wholesaler. You don't have direct contact with the buyers. But once you get the distribution set up, then you can go to these other places. Another key point about getting a distributor: if you can tell that distributor that you've talked to a children's bookstore, and they love your book, but they only buy through a distributor. Well, that distributor, if you've got some sales already in the pipeline for that distributor or that wholesaler, they'll take you on, much more likely to take you on. But so everything up to this point has been retail working through a distributor. Now we're going to talk about in retail. You want to sell 10,000 books, you get one person, or get 10,000 people each buy one. Here, you get one person who could buy 10,000. And I'll explain how that works. But again, you're selling the content, you're selling the product, and not the books. You're selling what the book does. Think back to that Arm & Hammer again, that you're looking for a different usage of your product. Another example of selling to a retailer with non-retail, there is a chain of children's shoe stores, and they wanted to increase the sales of their shoes. So we set up a continuity program that when people buy $150 worth of shoes, they got a card punched, and they got four of these cards punched, four punches on the card. Their kids could pick a free children's book out of the selection that they had. So they had a variety of children's books, and the kids picked that out. So they just picked it up at the store. Another reason to come back into the store. So we were helping them solve that problem of how to increase their sales. They didn't want to sell children's books. They wanted to increase their sales. So you're selling the content, solving the problem. That's a big difference in non-retail. You're going to these people and solving their problems. We had a dog food manufacturer wanted to increase the sales of their 20-pound bags of dog food. That was their objective. So we had a book about pet care, dog care, and put a QR code on the packaging, and so that people could go there and download a free book. So if they go to the store, there's this 20-pound bag of dog food, there's another 20-pound bag of dog food, all about the same price, all by nationally known brands. But this one, I get a free book here. We had initially talked about putting the book inside the bag, but there's a 20-pound bag dog food, had to have 20 pounds of dog food in there. Plus, there are a lot of restrictions that Lori talked about on the printing on this. Anytime you have a book mixed with food, even with pets or with adults, certainly, that you have to have strict requirements for the printing of the ink and the product of that on the cover and the pages. But the thing is here, there is no distribution network. The non-returnable, the arrow goes one way, but you're working with the decision maker. You're making the phone calls. You're contacting these people, and it takes a little chutzpah. It takes, you have to be confident of yourself, and I always would set up my prospects and my A, B, and C prospects. A being the top prospects, the ones the Purinas or the ones that I really want to get to. And then they have B's and C's. I would always the lower ones, that lower opportunities, lower size opportunities. I would always call them first, or contact them first, to learn about the questions that they had, or the objections that they had, or the sales techniques that I had, and different ways of doing it. And I also learned contacting a larger company, that if you call up and the receptionist says, what's the nature of your call? Well, I want to talk to Tammy about selling her my book. Boom, right to voicemail. It's very unlikely to get to talk to Tammy or to Lori. So what I do, think about this as creative and not manipulative. I would call the company and ask for the accounts receivable department. Hello, accounts receivable. How did I get you? I'm trying to get Tammy in marketing. Would you please switch me over? And the internal calls are rarely put into voicemail. They can tell it's coming from an internal number. So I get to talk to Tammy or Lori directly. But that's how you just find out these little tricks with your C prospects. Then when you get to the A prospects, you have your pitch all in right down pat. You have your elevator pitch and right down pat. That if you go to see these people at a trade show, another great place to sell your books at a trade show. But when people are come to your exhibit, what are you selling? Well, here's my 30-second elevator pitch. Well, that draws them right in. They're walking down the aisle, and then you have to get a way to draw them into you. So I work with some of my clients doing that, setting up these displays, and Lori can do the displays for you. But we set up displays on there. So if you go into a supermarket, and if your book is about kids fishing, well, maybe set up a display by the seafood counter, and that you go to Lori or to other bookdisplays.com, that they can set these up, package them, so you just pull up the top of the package off and put it on the counter. So there are ways of getting around or selling non-retail to retailers, but if you know the niche to which you're selling, then you can coordinate, customize your pitch directly to that. That's why I spent so much time talking about the niches and the target buyers. Here, how companies use books, the concept of product placement, that if you have a generic name of a product, you're talking about crayons. Well, call them Crayola crayons, and then get Crayola to buy a large quantity of books for them and give them to the retailers that are selling their boxes of books. They can have 100 crayons in a book in a package. So you buy a package of 100 crayons, you get a free copy of this book. And by the way, Crayola's name is in the content of the book. So that product placement can get you into a lot of good opportunities. Also, for pre-selling, if you're going to pay $15,000 to have an illustrated book produced, well, get Crayola to get a major company to sponsor you, to put their brand name in it, and they'll pay up. They can pay upfront fees for you if that's part of your negotiation, part of your agreement.
Let me step in just for a second because this is awesome. Remember that you can't use most brands in your book if you don't have permission from the company.
Right.
So I have an 80s themed book. I can't use a Rubik's Cube. I can't use a My Little Pony or anything that looks obviously like that without that company's permission.
Good point. Great point.
Brian, just a 15-minute warning. No, I guess you're 3:30. Sorry, no, you've got half an hour.
Yeah. Okay, so so people are introducing, Lego's introducing a new set that some of their packages can be several $100s. So if you, with the Lego's permission, have their brand name in there, or maybe mentioning, showing that the logos being the Legos being built, that get them to use that as an introduction for their products. That what you want to get them to do is get them to buy X thousand books with their name in the product placement area. They give them to the retailers. Retailers get them free, and when people buy this $100 or more package of Legos, here's a free copy of this book with it. So it's the more that you can find this different way of getting into the marketplace non-returnable. And let's think about these other, when you're looking at your content, think about other brand names that could be included in your book, but again, make sure that you get their permission. The gift with purchase, like we talked about the Flybabies, that you buy some of the clothes there, you get a free gift with purchase, or that dog care book in the 20-pound bag of dog food. Get that gift with purchase. It's free to them. I'm paying for the 20-pound bag dog food anyway. I get a free book, or my shoes at this shoe store. If people get that little extra value, then they're more likely to buy your product or that product because it has this extra. Make the analogies, maybe a weird analogy. If you go to a deli, you order a sandwich, and it usually comes with a little pickle wrapped in the top. But you didn't order it, but it's a little extra value to it, and it's something that that's what you're doing with the book. You're adding a little bit more value, so the consumer will buy this company's product versus somebody else because they get that little spiff on that. You go to this manta.com, it's a list of 13 million businesses. So you can sort it by industry, you can sort it by geography. You go there and it gives you a list of companies in those sorting. So it gives you the URL, it gives you in many cases the address, many cases the buyer, the manager or the contact person, that person's phone number, email address. It's a gold mine of information. This manta.com. If you want to start contacting companies, this is a great source of that information. This is something that is difficult, very difficult, but it's an opportunity. If you can go to Frosted Flakes or go to Kellogg's, and if you can have a variety of books, if you have a line of books, or if you have several sequels, or you have different authors, get together with some different authors, and if they're in the same genre, they'll have children's books, that you can go to this Kellogg's and get them to offer a variety of books. So you get one box of Frosted Flakes, you get a free product with it. Scholastic can set this up for you. Also, Books Are Fun can do that for you, which I'll show that momentarily. But you can also do that yourself. It's much more difficult doing yourself in this particular opportunity. But you can go through Scholastic or go through Books Are Fun, and they can set this up for you. But if you can do it yourself with a variety of books, then you can go directly to Kellogg's. Quality, it's got to be quality product. They're not going to put their name on any corporation. They're not going to put their name on a product they don't think is high quality. So you have that the professionally designed book, the professionally printed book, and you're much more likely to get into all these opportunities. So how do associations use books? This is something that I mentioned, the fact that think of yourself as a burglar, that you have an association, a Children's Hospital Association. Well, burglars, if they're trying to get into your house, if the front door is locked, they'll go through a window. If the window's locked, they'll go through the garage. If the garage is locked, they'll go down the chimney. But they'll have a variety of ways of getting into these associations. And that's what you have to think about. Think about how an association could use your book. If your content is associated with a particular cause, if it's about some disability of a child, well, go to that association and have reciprocal links, or have them promote your product, or have them sell it in their bookstore on their website. A lot of these associations have a bookstore on their website. Typically, they'll buy in smaller quantities. If they have an online bookstore on their website, then they'll typically buy in larger quantities. They'll generally want a 55% discount, which is a kind of standard wholesaling discount. But that if you have that in their bookstore, then you become a spokesperson. If you can do a presentation as a speaker, you can do that, or be their spokesperson for going to different local groups. If your book is on a disability for child, and then if that National Disability Association sponsors you, you're the spokesperson. You go out and talk to people about that. And oh, by the way, here's my book, has the association's logo on the cover. They can also use your book if people join the association, renew their membership. They get a free copy of your book as a thank you. That's great for the Children's Hospital Association, because then they give it to the hospitals that join it, but they get a free copy of your book, and then they understand the concept, or you tell them about the concept of the library, or they go into the Parents Association. They can use that as a premium for fundraising. That if you donate so much money, then you get the free copy of this book along with it. Or have if it's a local organization. A lot of these associations have local chapters. Go to the local chapters and get involved with that. Say that you'll do a book event for their members, but also that you'll be there to answer questions, or have a fundraising event, having a lunch with the author, something like that. They love that. It's something that no other author is going to do. After today, that you'll be have a lot of experience doing that. Speaking at events, again, going to their associations, going to their chapter meetings, speak at their chapter meetings. These can talk about go to Children's Hospital Association chapter meeting and talk about how they can set up a library in their hospitals. They want this type of information. They would love to have. This Juvenile Products Manufacturers Association. These are companies that create the strollers, the cribs for kids. So you go there and you get them, instead of going to the retailer that sells these cribs and strollers, go to this manufacturer of the stroller and get them to buy X thousand books, put their logo on the cover, which Lori can do, help you with. You can, I assume I didn't ask for Lori.
Yeah.
I'm sorry. I'm going to put you on the spot. But again, so they put their logo on the cover or somewhere on the book, and they give it to these retailers. And the retailer, okay, you can buy this stroller, you can buy this stroller, same price, same basic functions, but here's a free book with this one, or this crib, or the clothes. But if you go there, you can sort it by Well, also it's geographically, by genre, by product, by manufacturer. But it's a list of companies that you can contact to get them to buy your book in large quantities. It's my favorite term, large quantity, non-returnable. My favorite phrase. Children's libraries. Go here. They're looking for authors that can come in there and do presentations. If you have that banana outfit or the ant outfit, whatever your character may be, just if you go to that library, they love that. That brings the kids in, it brings the parents in, and it gets more people, more patrons for them to. I did a direct mail program to librarians one time, and again, talking about how to customize your promotion to the buyer. I did, the subject line was, "This book is 2 years overdue." It should have been out 2 years ago, but for a librarian, 2 years overdue. How much money did they owe me? But it's something that customizing your pitch, your promotion, your marketing to that. But you go to the ALA site, but they have this group for children's libraries. Here's a list of libraries that serving children. So you don't have to. These are children's libraries, not libraries for everybody. Or for preschool libraries. Here's a place to go for preschool libraries, which is another really good opportunity for you. So the groups of parents as a fundraiser, or getting them to buy their books just for resale. But at home is moms clubs. It could be for homeschooling, but moms there's at home dads club or organization too. National Center for Fathering and National Adoption Center. So all these places, the Family and Work Institute, people are trying to juggle a career with a family. Well, if your book is going to help them do that, great way to sell it. These associations will buy the books, they may resell it. And then you give them 15% or X%, or sell it in their bookstore without they're giving them 55%. But you're still making some good money if these are, because they'll put their logo on the cover, or tell them how they can put the logo on the cover so they get the credit for it. The academic market. I don't suggest going to public schools. The approval process is laborious, but you can go there, you can do readings. But if you want to go to public schools, here's a list of those by state. And all the contact information for them, so you can go directly to that. But you typically have to go through a qualifying program, an approval process that could take a long time. And it's usually could be district by district or state by state. So you spend a lot of time doing that. But there are other ways of getting into the academic market. Just going to talent and gifted programs, getting the PTAs to buy your book, and then they can resell them, or they can use them as the fundraiser. Just going to a group of Montessori school, Montessori Society. The Department of Defense runs 161 schools outside the U.S. from K-12. They're looking for products. They're looking for books for these people. These are for the families of the service people that are overseas. So they need quality product for that. And what I like about this is that the approval process is not quite as laborious as the public school process. They're not less demanding. They want quality product, but they also want to get the product into their service people. Their objective is to make everybody in the family happy. If everybody's happy, then the service person will re-enlist, and that's their ultimate objective. So if they can get get your books in there to improve the education, improve the experience of the kids, then they're all for it. Preschool, you go to this. There's a list of child care centers by state. If you have bilingual books in Spanish, we found out it's interesting to have bilingual books, English on one page and Spanish on the other, or other language on the other. And we found that the kids can teach the parents how to speak English or Spanish just by using those side-by-side bilingual books. But here's a list of the child care centers by state. KinderCare is there are a lot of national daycare centers. KinderCare and La Petite are the two largest. These are the websites for just this one. KinderCare they list other daycare centers. But Lopathy, but they can buy directly from you also. And they can, as I mentioned before, the kids could say, hey, I saw it, Mom, I saw this book of this preschool today. Can we get it? Homeschool market is enormous. This post-COVID, that more and more people are doing homeschooling. It's a great way to get books directly into it. You can go to Nathan as an example for it, but the National Homeschooling Association, instead of you going to each of the lower rungs of the homeschooling groups and families, get them to put it on their website or get them to put it in their monthly newsletter and give them a percentage of the sale. So you do the fulfillment on something like that, but if they put it in their bookstore and on their website, then they will do the fulfillment for you. But as I mentioned before, try to go to the highest level and then get them to do all the distribution, all the mechanical work for you. So you're not working too hard at that. Books are fun. They're looking in the homeschooling area, but they're somewhat of a competitor to Scholastic. They can get you set up the school programs for you. And they set up events for teachers. The teachers' lounge will set up a display of books. So have your books on that. They have books for managing your money as a single parent or bringing up with a family and career, working family and career. They also have books for the curriculum for the children's books, but that can be a great opportunity for you.
Brian, just it's 3:20.
Okay.
3:20.
We'll hold the questions off momentarily. Just want to do a quick case history.
Yep, great.
Kind of putting us all together. You have a book about teddy bears. Okay. Go to retail stores, like the Vermont Teddy Bear store. They sell stuffed animals also. Buy the stuffed animal, get a free copy of your book with it. Bear Essentials, Charlie's Bears. These are retail stores. Gift shops and children's hospitals. Build a Bear Workshop. My granddaughter just had a birthday party, and they took a bunch of kids over to Build a Bear, where they built a bear. But now, for the people that are creating these parties, or for the mom and dads, should I go do this? Well, Build a Bear will say, well, we'll give each of your kids that come here a free book. So it's setting that up. Target has a special, cuddle up to joy with a teddy bear collection at Target stores. Again, looking at your opportunities here, is it going to the pet shops for a teddy bear book? Could be a great opportunity. The pet shops aren't selling bears, but they want to get animal friendly products in there. So you have that. Maybe if you can tie it in with a plush toy, have your book about teddy bears with a plush toy. So you bundle it. We had a book on Santa Claus, and we bundled it with a glass plate to put Santa's cookies on, or a glass drinking cup glass for Santa's milk. So you packaging the products together is called a bundling, and you can do that for these stores. Museums and national park, the Teddy Bear Museum. Well, if you have a book on teddy bears, that's where you want to be. The Event Network, I gave you that URL before, but they can get you into there. The childhood home of Teddy Roosevelt has a gift shop in there. So the Smithsonian has an area for teddy bears. The state national parks for their gift stores. They don't want to promote bears, I guess, in their national parks, but they can have. It's a book for the kids. It's about the animals. That National Park Service actually sells a book called "The Story of the Teddy Bear," so you can get your book in there. List of children's museums is at that spot. The Teddy Children's Book Award for teddy bears. This will take you to other book awards for other genre books. If you have a book about dinosaurs or a book about educational books that have awards for a variety of different opportunities, but here's one for teddy bears. Selling to business buyers. This company sells huge stuffed animals manufactured in America. So you have a teddy bear that's 6 feet tall. It's a few $100s, but you get this book with it. That the Big Plush sells, again, giant teddy bears, but they want to have teddy bear products in their stores. You may not buy the 6 foot teddy bear, but they have other products that are associated with teddy bears in it. Trunk manufacturers for that, for this, the stuffed animals, the getting the book as the bundling it as a bundle. So you have your teddy bear with your book with a teddy bear that's the stuffed animal. This Bukowski Bears is donating money to the animals that were displaced or harmed in the forest fires in California. Donate your book, or you can donate it there, or you can sell it to them. They're donating a portion of every order, not the whole order. If you do that, don't say you'll donate $1 per book. Say you'll donate a percentage of the profits to Bukowski Bears, who will donate it. Because if you say $1 a book, you may be losing money on every sale. If you say a percentage of your profits, you've already taken your money out. So the profits are, it just is you want to make sure you're getting paid before you start giving your books away. Winnie the Pooh, the Winnie the Pooh Museum Association, Theodore Roosevelt Association. We talked about different ways association can use your book. It's but there's an example for a teddy bear book going to the Teddy Roosevelt Association. Juvenile products manufacturers we talked about, American Teddy Bear Association, get them to sell it. American Bear Association, the International Moms Club, Parent Teachers Association. The Bear Crew works with the American Heart Association. Talked before about cause marketing. Here's a way of getting your book aligned with the cause of American Heart Association. There's a list of teddy bear clubs and associations that do a Google search on your topic clubs, your topic associations. You'll be amazed at what comes up. It's a prospect list for you to contact these people. And you go back and think about how the different ways in which the association can use your book, and then you sell to them. Teddy Bear Society, Teddy Bear Collectors Club. Another example of the cause marketing. So you can align yourself with these associations and get them to do the marketing for you. Or get them to do the selling for you. But you have to contact them. You have to let them know your book is available. And that's where you go to all these different links that I've showed you here and are talked about, and create your ABC priority list and start contacting them. The Bear Hospital project, again, the cause marketing for that. Children's libraries, we pretty much hit that, but again, for the Teddy Bear Association. And the media related, getting on TV and radio shows, Bears and Buzz, Teddy Bear magazine. People subscribe to the magazine to get a free copy of your book as a thank you. Doing podcasts, here's a podcast for children. Blogging, the list of blogs for children. So do podcasts there. On the blogs, you don't necessarily have to start your own blog, but find blogs that are already about your content, and then send a copy of your book to the owner of the blog, or post on the blog and get your name out there. So the more that you can get involved with these things, the more likely you are to make it work. And again, they just use this teddy bear as an example, but you can just insert where it says teddy bear, put your genre in there, your content, your concept, in there. 3 minutes left. So, we can do questions.
Question? Yep, there are some questions that were submitted. One question was, do you have to be American to approach some of these American associations?
Not great question, but no. They're not selling your book. You're selling concept, the quality, what your content does for them. What problem does that help them solve? So if it's maybe misunderstanding the question, if it's a multilingual book, that's something that has different usage for it. But if it's a book about a particular content, but the author is out of the country, no, it doesn't matter. If that information will help them sell more 20-pound bags of dog food, or more shoes, or more strollers, or more cribs, that's what they want. And they'll slap their label on it, their logo on it, and or put their brand name in the book with the brand name's approval.
Another question that we had was, do most organizations prefer hardcover books over softcover books?
It depends. Typically if a company is using it as a fundraiser, they like hardcover. If they're using it to give away, they want softcover. Could be even saddle stitch. Tammy talked about saddle stitching for that. If they're doing a giveaway that they want to buy, they want the biggest bang for the lowest buck. So if they can buy 10,000 books and give them away one at a time, they want the lowest quantity, not quality, or highest quality, lowest price. But so therefore, I would say those are more softcover. But if it's for a library, they want hardcover, or typically they prefer hardcover. And any retailer, they want hardcover. They want a good spine, because generally it's spine out.
Durable. Yeah. Bulk sales. What discount do you give to organizations for large quantities? Is there a standard percentage that's typically used?
Yes and no. It depends. My favorite answer is it depends. You can have a discount schedule, but it's typically, it is based on quantity. If they buy 100 books, it's 10% off. They buy 500 books, maybe 15% off. They buy 5,000 books, maybe 20% off. They buy 10,000 books, 50% off. It's negotiable, but you have that set up so it's all based on quantity. That's why, getting back to Lori's slide showing the lower price of higher quantities, the more that you get them into the higher quantity, the more you can negotiate a lower price. So it's I'm not trying to be evasive on the answer. It just depends on how skilled you are in negotiating, what you're willing to negotiate away. If you'll pay for the logo customization, then you can maybe get a higher price and negotiate that away for a higher price. And if so it's there is no fixed schedule, but you want to have a schedule you can start with. Because somebody will say, I'll buy 5,000 books if I get the $10,000 price, 10,000 book price. So you have to know your before you go into any negotiation, know your printing cost at a variety of quantities, so you can say right off the bat, well, yeah, we can work that out.
In-person events, there's a question about are they effective? Is that, will that?
Much more effective than a signing. Yes. And the retailers love that. I'm sorry, did I cut you off on asking the question?
No, it was more just that was like in bookstores or other events. Is that an effective way of selling, I guess, your book?
It is much more than a signing, but these other retailers, like a supermarket, they want to get the parents in with the kids, because then the parents are going to buy more product in there. With airport stores, you can do it on airport stores, and you can get a pass. It's not a boarding pass, but a pass that will get you through security to get to the stores. And they love that. The kids, if they can get something that's going to draw the kids in, particularly if you have that. That's why I like the word event versus signing. The event would be the banana outfit or the ant outfit, and you can. It gets people in. People walking down the concourse of an airport, they're walking somewhere else. So not thinking about that. But the kids say, grab your shirt and, Mom, look at this, Dad, look at this big banana. Then you
might lead to a sale.
So the event, I think, is much more effective. And again, the retailers like that because it brings people into their store. And when they're in the store, they typically buy more than the book.
Then the last question I see here is about all of those awesome links that you've created. Is there will you be providing a sheet with all those links, or like a clickable links, or is it the slides?
They were clickable on the slides. But I did that the bit.ly, that short URLs primarily for the recordings, and people can't click on the slides. but you can still see those. I hadn't created a sheet with all those on there, but they'll be on the slides, so you can, there are hot links on the slides.
Perfect. I think, did I answer all the questions? Does anyone have any additional questions for Brian or for Tammy or for myself? We're kind of into the open forum question portion now.
Let me just drop on something.
Yeah.
Am I allowed to do a brief promo here for myself?
Yeah, of course.
I have a program where I can do all this for you. That this catalog program, we put books in a search engine that's used by about 40,000 salespeople who have gotten contact non-retail buyers. So they'll call on all these companies for you. They'll call on the associations. They'll call on the libraries, not libraries, hospitals. And we can do that for we can do that for you. And I won't get into pricing on that now, but if you want to contact me, just my email address is there, and I can send you information on that. But and also, as far as my offer for this, you get a half-hour consult with me for $100, or an hour consult for $100. Did I say that right? So, we'll spend some time. If you have some,
Value.
I can go through,
Your time, yeah.
I can go through this with you. If, work on your book for a half hour, for an hour. Half hour is $100, an hour $200, but you get the free half hour. And I'll go through all this, and I'll create that prospect list with you for your book, and we can do that together. But so it's a half hour for free.
That's
And
great.
you just email me at bookmarketing.com, and we can set up that half-hour consultation for you.
That's amazing. That's awesome. Thanks, Brian. That was great. There's lots of great comments coming through. Amazing information, good information. Loved it. Thanks so much. So yeah, great job. Thanks, Brian. So much to think about.
I know some people,
Tammy's brain is firing on all the ways that she can package up her book.
the negative part about this is that there's just so much information. I don't want to make people feel so overwhelming. That just start off with retailing, and then just go through a distributor, and then while you're doing that, practice making some calls through these other corporations, associations. Just don't try to do everything at one time. Make a list of things that I make the analogy to the March Madness brackets, that you have two opportunities vying against each other, and one wins, and then those two go to the next one, and those two go to the next one. Finally, you get one down to one, and do that for this next month. Then next month, have a new bracket of different things, and then bring it down to one. So you want to sort out something, so you're not trying to do everything all at one time. Just do one thing and learn how to do it well, and allow it time. Somebody's going to buy 10,000 books. It doesn't happen in 6 months. It may happen in a year. So you have to just have that patience and make it work, which it's hard for me to have patience with.
Me too.
If you can make it work, it can be there's just so much opportunity out here. You can double your opportunity, as my first slide. You can double your opportunity.
I just wanted to share all of our special offers here before everybody leaves.